Brian Lizotte
How are you,
from
Mark?
Lizotte's Live and Cooking.
Nice to have you have me.
Even nicer to have you here in Milestone Bellanova's boardroom and the part-time residents of Business Insider here on the coast. Extraordinary. We were just talking about passions and life, and as we get older, what do we do? As long as we're doing something we like. I look at your CV and I was exhausted after about 1998,
You are.
I think. And I'm just reading it, indeed. What were the high points there? Because, you know, it is touring the country supplying food or whatever.
Well, we started off in a very simple, humble situation in a recording studio, and I'd been travelling and in the hospitality industry and cooking and bartending and all sorts of things, and needed to settle down. And I met my then brother's girlfriend, and she was doing a little bit of catering in a recording studio, and that's how it all began. And from there, the two passions that I always had so much of, as music and food, were just brought together, and we started this little business in a recording studio. And some of our first customers were people like INXS and Jimmy Barnes and Midnight Oil and Ian Moss and Wendy Matthews.
And I should say you are the famous brother of someone called Diesel.
Yes, I've got an amazingly talented brother who, you know, spends a lot of his career these days playing in my restaurant. So it's a good marriage. And so from there we just it flourished into a wonderful catering business that took off, and we did lots of catering internationally around the country, and did lots of big rock tours.
Did you have a plan to end up here with the true marriage of live and cooking?
I guess those are always happy with food, always happy with music. So I think the side of things with having to work so hard and being mobile with the catering business, my wife and I and my young family at the time wanted to have a break. So the Central Coast, the lifestyle, everything that you come to on the coast was there, and it called us. So we took that, you know, with great gusto, and parted with the Sydney catering company that took a lot of our life, and we started a little restaurant on the Central Coast. But I missed the music so much that Joe and I thought, oh, you know, should we? And we had an opportunity at Ettalong Beach Warmero Club way back in the old days, some 10 years ago now, to reinvent what was a booming business in the dinner show market. And I guess we pioneered that, in particular on the coast, and pretty much in Newcastle as well.
Well, you reinvented it, didn't you?
We did. We sort of took it and breathed new life back into it, and brought it back to the people, and said, you know, this is great, mixing food, music, two of life's greatest passions. Everybody loves music and food, so it just worked.
And it'll be, if you look back now, let's take the last 5 years. You had Yum Yum and successfully moved on from there. What surprised you in this path from one at Kincumber to 2 or 3 now? I don't want to scare you, but to take you back. How that's evolved?
I guess it was always a pipe dream of mine to have a run of restaurants where I created a run for the artist, and you know, to have them all up the eastern seaboard, probably not going to happen at this stage, that's for sure. Safe on 3, but it does give you economies of scale. We did our homework on what it could do for the actual marketing of the business and the brand name, and being an hour and a half from each other, it gives a great run for the artist. So we often have an artist that will do all 3, and it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or 2 day off, or 2 and 2. I mean, some artists even work 6 days a week, so I don't know how they do it. My brother is one of them, and you just have to go, oh my God, how could you do 6 shows in a row? But they often do it, and quite successfully. So it gives them a good chunk of their turnover, and for us as well. And the general public get a chance to get acts that they would not normally get in a small little environment like the Cubby House that they nicknamed Kincumber.
So. But that's part of the intimacy, isn't it? I got to say, when I was talking to someone yesterday about having you coming in, and I say, you go there and the food's good, but you feel like you're sitting in the lap of the entertainer.
It's a lounge room environment.
It is a lounge room environment.
And often, well, Kincumber is actually a lounge room. So we transformed a restaurant, a old homestead, into a restaurant and into a music venue. So Yeah, it is. Then you're going to get a show a lot different to a larger room or the festival vibe. I mean, I don't douse any of those other concepts and other places for people to see music, but if they come into my rooms, they're going to get a show that's going to be, and often at the end of the day, they're going to get an opportunity to meet that artist and have their CD signed, or and have that personal, up close and personal experience. I mean, Jimmy once said, any closer and I'll be sitting at your table,
I'm sure that wasn't his full sentence. The opportunity, well, Newcastle 5 years ago, no, 3 years ago.
3 years now, we'll be 3 years in May. We took that, I mean, again, we stumbled upon these places, and they all happen.
How did you find them?
Well, Kincumber we drove past one day, and we were at the Hardy's Bay RSL Club at that time, and we found, and I walked in and thought, okay, well, the stage could go here, and could we make that work? And then Newcastle, it was actually a carpet cleaner that came into my restaurant one on a Sunday night to see some act. I can't even remember the act, but and he said, oh, we've driven all the way from Newcastle. But I cleaned the carpets of this old theatre in Lambton. He said, it'd be perfect for this dinner show concept. And he gave me his card and he said, you got to look it up. It's the King's Theatre in Lambton. And that's how it happened. I went back and I said, oh, well, let's take a drive and have a look. And we went, oh no, here we go. This is going to work.
I should have stayed at home.
And 101 or 102 years old this year, a beautiful old Art Deco theatre that's been looking after people's social lives for years. And I guess that's where it came, and DY was the same when we found that place. Our daughter was going to high school in the Northern Beaches at Barrenjoey High School and going on along the ferry, and so it gave us an excuse to spend a bit more time in the Northern Beaches. Found out that the dinner show concept wasn't really there, and we could capitalise on a market again and complete that run of three venues. So we took over this old function centre that was 50-year-old function centre. Every Italian wedding in the area was done there, and it's got this beautiful parquetry floor, and it's just this room we've been able to Lizotify and come up with a third venue to complement the three. So very safe on three.
The
three are very different.
You're talking to a baseball player. That run from three to home. That's a very long run.
And that's the home run. I'm gonna bat for that one next. So.
Okay, that's cool. The next 12 months. Right now it's an unusual environment. What do you think you'll focus on for the next 12 months?
The economic situation, the climate that everybody talks about, and the downturn and all of that in people's spending habits and whatnot, we find that, and we're very, very driven by that, and we've had a lot of ups and downs, and the rock and roll roller coaster, I call it. The highs are so high, but the lows are so low, that when you come down, you've got to be able to come out the other end and balance it out. I guess the focus will always be on community first and foremost, and because we might have your Jimmy Barnes and your Diesels and your Eric Bibbs and your Kev Mose from the Blues Festival, and even Mick Fleetwood we had in Newcastle. So you've got incredible international acts that we've been able to garner and to bring to the room, but you can't have them every day, unfortunately. And whether people can afford on the Central Coast, we're a small, tiny venue that still struggles quite regularly to fill the room. So you've got to be able to turn to the local community, and our focus on live local music has been an integral part of our success over the years. Looking at,
is that reflected in your other venues?
Most definitely. Yeah. We started off with Kincumber. We've got 16 high schools now that we look after and partnership with on several times of the year, not just one. Some high schools are doing 2 and 3 shows a year, bringing their musical showcases in part of their curriculum now. There is as a Live at Lizotte show where the students get up there and they strut their stuff, and for some students it's very hair-raising, and oh my God, what did I that's definitely not what I want to do, is music, because I could never do that anymore, or it definitely gives them a basis to spawn their feelings and their aspirations to become a musician. So we see a lot of that, and I get just as much buzz out of putting those sort of acts, the young and up and comings, as I do the big names. And I think that's what's definitely the community embracing the venue as their own is very important, using it for charity events and just coming together. You speak about Gina Jeffries, just recently. But you know, all this plethora of great musicians in the Central Coast as well that we regularly have in our rooms, and not only just as performing there, but as customers and giving back to the community.
So you've given me a great segue, because we've chatted, we are advocates for the cluster mentality and getting like-minded people together, whether it's retail or whether it's, and I'm aware that music is on Graham Baker's
yes,
radar.
Absolutely, and you know, their help with Enterprise Connect is it's definitely, you know, to nurture and to house. I mean, we've done it hard, and we've struggled for years to get to where we need to be. I mean, the brand name's as strong as it ever was, but there's always those hurdles that you have to go over, and to have help is wonderful, you know. And we've been able to just recently.
Is there a cluster mentality there around the music side, or the music family?
The music industry. Well, I suppose it's a hidden, yeah, because they're all very supportive of one another, especially on the coast. You've got, you know, some of the most incredible Australian musicians that all live within, you know, a stone's throw.
Extraordinary recording facilities.
Absolutely, that. So there is no reason why the Central Coast can't flourish in the industry. The venues, there's more and more, which is great, and the focus that the government initiative on bringing back live music to places and being able for places to have music is much more readily available these days, which is great too, which gives the music industry another, you know, a leg up as well.
Yeah, government assistance happens all too rarely, so let's embrace it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brian, talking about venues on the Central Coast, we've got the Landing, which promises 1,000 seats as a landmark point and building in the new Gosford. Does that have a role in your view?
Well, this has been an ongoing issue and wish list for the Central Coast for many, many years now, and to see that to finally come to fruition, I guess it's about bringing a place that can centralise and give the Central Coast some ownership of a flagship venue. And so the spin-offs from that, my 110-seater venue can't compete with that, so you're not going to be able to use that for symphony orchestras or big bands or anything like that, although we have had a big band at Lizottes. But it's going to give, you know, the Central Coast Conservatorium, it just gives presence and real living and eating, breathing Central Coast, you know, arts and culture, which we haven't had in the past. And I suppose we'll just benefit by being an addendum and an accompaniment to that, and support that as much as possible. I mean, musicians in general is what we're all about supporting, so it'll be a wonderful thing if it finally does come to fruition and gets built and bring life back into Gosford and the Central Coast. So it's exactly what's needed for the coast.
Cool. We have the power at Business Insider to grant you a wish. You know, this is your rant moment. This is what would Brian Lizotte like to change if he could wave his wand?
My little soapbox, you mean?
Your little soapbox,
how high do I get to
as
go
high
up?
as you want. As high as you want.
I guess, you know, ask people to get off the couch more often, and to I mean, music and food is always something that people turn to in times of tough.
It is the passion.
And in times of joy, in times of happiness, in times of sorrow, all of these things, music and food is just, it's just a natural reaction. So I guess to see more live music, I mean, music is something that and food, we don't sell food and music only, we sell memories. And I've always said that, and to bring back those memories, don't go out to see just the same musicians that you've always seen, come and see some new ones as well, and make new memories. Is my biggest, probably my biggest passion at the moment, is to sort of have people, take a risk on it. I'm never going to put anything on stage that's sort of, you know, the old hack or something that's not of good quality music. So trust me and come out more often, and you know, and we'll be there for you. Keep your social lives ticking along. So
may we support you in that effort.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Brian.
It's been a pleasure.